Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Lori, and this is my space where I share all things planning, crafting, and Disney related. And if you are returning to this channel, thank you so much for being a part of this channel. Thank you for your subscribing and all of your messages. I've really enjoyed being a part of this community. So I'm so glad to have you here. If you have not subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe right now. I am working on different crafting and planning videos, and of course Disney's going to be sprinkled in there as well. But today what I want to do is I want to craft. I want to kind of get into the holiday mood and create a craft that I can have up in my home for the holiday season, or I could even give it as a gift. So I wanted to do an embroidery hoop wreath that I saw on Pinterest, of course, because everything is on Pinterest, right? Pinterest or Instagram. So I wanted to make that, and I was actually looking, I'm going to just minimize me over here. I was actually looking on Google, of course, and I was like, you know what, I think I want a happy everything saying, so that way I could kind of keep it up year round. But also it has a holiday decor to it. Maybe I could change out some of the embellishments or something to kind of change it with the seasons. So I found this Pineapple Paper Co. Website, and actually through my Google search, let me go right here. This was my Google search, and I was like, oh, that's really cute. So I clicked on that, and it brought me to the page that's being covered. I could see this right here, and so I just clicked on Pineapple Paper Co. and then it took me to the page right here that says there's a free Happy Everything SVG. This was specifically for a doormat, but I thought it was really pretty. I really liked the font. And I could create this myself if I wanted to, but it's a free SVG. Why not? You do have to give your email address. So that's something to consider with a lot of these free SVGs, is that you do have to give an email address. So you may want to consider having an email address that you set up just for something like this, where you don't care if you're going to get a bunch of emails later. It's not going to flood your inbox. So I did download this, and I will point out that there are other holiday crafts that you can make, which is really cool. But I really want you to notice that right here it says, please use this SVG cut file designed by Pineapple Paper Co. for personal use only. So you do want to keep in mind when you are downloading any type of SVGs, if you are running a business, whether it is for personal use or for commercial use, when you save it, you may also want to make an annotation, whether it's commercial or personal, just so you know down the road, and you're not looking at all these SVG files and wondering if it was something you could use for commercial use or not. So this is for personal use only. So I do have it downloaded right here, and I'm going to go into Cricut Design Space. Actually, I'm going to go into a new project because I was working on this costume. So I'm in a new canvas, and I'm going to upload this SVG. I'm going to click Upload Image, and I'm going to browse for the image that I just downloaded, and it's right here. So I can drag and drop, or I can double click. Either way, it's supposed to work. Just kidding, right here it's not going to. So I'm gonna just hit open. It's gonna open it for me. Essentially, you should be able to drag and drop. So it's titled Happy Everything, and that's really all that I want it to be. So I'm just gonna hit save, and now I have it here in my uploaded files. So I'm going to click Happy Everything, and since it's green, I know I can insert it, and there I am. So I'm going to need to measure how big this is going to be. So I'm going to look at my embroidery hoop to insert a circle just as my guide. And I think I'm going to make this circle let's just do 8.7. And I'm going to hit enter. So there's my circle, and this is going to be my guide. And I'm going to move it to the back so it always stays in the back. And then what I can do is I can drag my image here, and I can see where it will fit in the circle. So if I wanted to, I could just make it a little bit smaller, and I could see kind of like where it's going to fit. And I know that I want it to be a little bit lower. I don't want it to be exactly center because up here I'm going to put some embellishments and I don't want it to block it. Oops, I'm going to hit undo. So I think that actually looks really good. So I'm going to stick with that. So since I want to make that, I'm going to get rid of my circle because I don't need it. I'm going to save this as Happy Everything Wreath. And then I'm going to make it. Okay, I should probably just move me forever because you don't need to see all of that. Okay, so I'm going to hit mirror because I know that I'm doing an iron-on and it's going to reverse it for me. I'm going to hit continue. And my Cricut is not plugged in, or turned on, I should say. And excuse my super squeaky chair. It's the chair that I have. Okay, so the Cricut is on. Now we recognize the maker. And it says custom materials warning, unable to load custom materials. The cut interaction will not function properly. Okay, let's try that again. Let's hit make it. We have it here. We're going to mirror. Continue. And now it recognizes it. And I am doing a foil iron-on. I love the specialty materials. This is the Deco foil. I love this stuff. It's so easy to weed and you don't have to heat it as long. I really do like it. So I'm going to keep it at default and I need to cut my material. So I need a 8x5 piece of material. So I'm going to cut that over here.
So next I take my Deco foil and I place it on my self-healing cutting mat that I purchased I think at Michael's, and it's Cricut brand. I use a yardstick and the cutting knife to go ahead and cut out a piece of foil in the dimensions of 8x5 because that's all that I'm going to need to cut this image. So I take my piece of vinyl and I place it the shiny side down on the vinyl. Since I'm doing a heat transfer, I have to cut in a mirror image. And then I put that in my Cricut machine, and while it is cutting out, I am going to actually open the package that I ordered from Amazon of embroidery hoops. I ordered a set of 5, and I will link this information down below for you. I did find a set of 5 and a set of 6 that you could purchase, and they come in various sizes. I liked this one because it came with a variety and I could make some different sizes. There's a 10-inch hoop, and then the smallest is a 6-inch hoop. I liked the idea of having different sizes. I could make different hoops, and I could either give them as gifts, or I think it would be really cool to have a collection of hoops with coordinating fabrics kind of put together in a collage style. But I did use some fabric that I had here, and I had some embellishments that I thought I was going to use, and some ribbon that I had planned on using. And as far as other materials, you'll need a glue gun, you'll need your scissors, your easy press. And so I am just giving this an extra press just to make sure that I can see how it will fit when I place it inside the embroidery hoop. And I have a cut of 1/4 yard for this hoop. This is a 9-inch hoop. 1/4 yard is just enough to fit inside this 9-inch hoop. So keep that in mind when you're buying your fabric. As far as the size, I would have gotten a little bit more in hindsight, but that's what I had purchased at the time, and I was going to make it work, as Tim Gunn says. So now that my vinyl is done, I'm just going to go ahead and weed out the excess so I can have just the image that I need. And here you can see my handy dandy weed stash, which I have mentioned in another video. It's really just a old piece of the plastic that came with some packing tape, and I put some tape on top of it. And this is the perfect little stash to collect all of the small little pieces when you are weeding out an image. And so you can just see that I just pick up the images and put it straight in there. I know some people use like a tissue box or an old Clorox box and they put their stuff in there. It's a little too big for me. I like that this fits in my hand and I can go ahead and weed out the little pieces and just have it sit in here. And I only had to empty this once so far and it's worked really well. Now my image was a little detailed, so I did have to bust out with the tweezers to get some of those pieces, but it was worth the extra little time and effort to get those because I think it came out really, really cute in the end. Those extra little details make such a big difference. So now that this is all finished and I'm done weeding, I am just going to place the hoop and place the vinyl exactly where I think it will be, or where I would actually want it to be. So that way I know where to iron it on. And I do try to keep it a little more towards the bottom because I know I'm going to have embellishments at the top. And then I go in with my easy press and I use my timer and I just let it count down. And because this is a Deco foil that I purchased from, it's a specialty materials Deco foil, you are supposed to let it cool for a while, so I fan it out. I should have let it cool a little bit longer. You'll see on the second P that it needs a little extra TLC, but in the meantime, while I'm waiting for it to cool, I plug in my glue gun because I will need that. And so then I go ahead and peel, and you can see the P or the Y, I'm sorry, the Y needed a little bit of extra love. But that's okay because I go over it with just a little piece of parchment paper and I just press it again, and this helps to make sure that it's really set and good to go. So now I can come in with the embroidery hoop and I can go ahead and tighten it, and I will pull the fabric just to get it as taut as possible and exactly where I want it to be. And once I get the fabric exactly where I want it to be, I go ahead and tighten the hoop, and I'm still able to pull the fabric just a little bit more as I tighten it each time. And then I just take my scissors and I trim off the excess. I do find it helpful to lay the scissors flat against the edge of the hoop, but I even miss a couple of spots, so it's very easy to go back and trim the excess. And really all that matters is that from the front side of the hoop, you're not able to see the fabric. So if it's not precise, it's totally fine. But I really think that this is so pretty. I love the red and the way it pops against the black and the white. The next step is to add some embellishments, and I really did originally intend to add these little berries and have a bow and berries. I end up not using them because once I put the bow on there, I just felt like the bow was enough. I felt like it was enough and it would do well for the message. I think if the message said Merry Christmas, I would definitely keep the berries, but because it says everything, I kind of wanted it to be a piece that I could keep up year round. So I felt like the berries really made it more of a winter look. So I decided not to use the berries, but I will lay these out here and you can see how it could look. Now I really want to point out that I had this one little piece of embellishment and I cut it apart, and I'm only like laying out right here, I'm only laying out a couple of the little leaves and a couple of the berries. And I point that out to say that you do not have to use every little piece of embellishment or material that you purchase exactly the way it comes. you can take it apart, you can manipulate it, you can replace it exactly the way you want it to be. You know, really get creative and make the pieces just whatever brings you joy, whatever visually brings you joy is what you should do. Don't feel stuck with having to use a little sprig just because you bought it that way. Feel free to take it apart and make it what you want it to be. So now I'm going in with the bow because I want to see what the bow is going to look like. And I tie the bow the same way I tie a shoelace, and then you just fluff out the bow. It's not really difficult to make because you can move things. And if you'd like to see a slowed down version of a video on how to make a bow, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do that for you. But I do go through with my scissors, and they're not the best scissors at all. I end up using my rotary blade to trim it, and then I do use some Fray No More, and I add that onto the edge of the ribbon, and that just makes sure that it's going to fray no more. It will not fray. It does look a little dark at first when I put it on, but it does dry clear. And now I am just placing the bow to see where I think it's going to fit. And then here you can see I kind of am playing around with how it would look with the leaves or the little berries. And I mean, it would look really cute with the leaves and the berries. And I almost left it on there, but like I said, I decided not to, since it says happy everything, and that way I can leave it up pretty much year round. So this is pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue the bow down. And I do want to point out also that if you really like the way the bow is sitting on a certain spot, feel free to hot glue on the back and actually glue the bow in the position that you want it to be. And then for like the little tails of the bow, you can also hot glue those onto the embroidery hoop as well. Mine happened to sit pretty well to where I could still see the happy image or the happy everything image. But if it weren't fitting that well, I could definitely, glue it out of the way. So now I just take a piece of the ribbon and I am just hot gluing it to make this little loop. And then I'm going to take this little loop and hot glue it to the back of my hoop. And so you'll see that now I have a little way to hang it. I more than likely will hang this with the command hook, because if I can command hook it, I will. I mean, I use those things throughout my house like crazy. So you just put a little bit of glue, put the ribbon down, and then voila, you're done. That's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Oh yes, right here, if you want to, you can also add hot glue to just the little edges if you don't want it to come out, but that's totally extra. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you make these, and if you do, share a picture. I'd love to see what yours look like and how they turn out. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification, and guys, thank you so much for being with me. I hope you all have a fantastic day and happy crafting. Bye.